Hey everyone, and welcome! If you're getting ready for your GCSE computer science exams, you know how important it is to nail the fundamentals. Today, we're diving into one of the absolute cornerstones of all coding, sequence. Seriously, you can't write a single program without it, so let's get right to it.
So the easiest way to wrap your head around sequence is to think about a recipe. You have to follow the steps in order, right? You can't just put the cake in the oven before you've even mixed the flour and eggs. It just wouldn't work. Well, a computer is exactly the same. It's super literal. It does exactly what you tell it to do in the exact order you write it, from the first line down to the last.
And you know, that recipe analogy, it's not just a handy way to remember it. It's genuinely how every single program works. I mean, everything, from the biggest, most complicated video game to the simple calculator on your phone. It all just boils down to the computer working its way down a to-do list, one instruction at a time.
Okay, now this is super important for your GCSEs. Every program out there, no matter how complex it seems, is built using just 3 fundamental techniques. We call these programming constructs, and they're what control the flow of the program. You've got to know these inside and out.
And here they are, the big 3: sequence, selection, and iteration. Think of sequence as the default, the straight road. Selection is all about making choices, like an if this, then that situation. And iteration is about repeating things, like loops. In this explainer, we're zooming right in on that first, most fundamental building block, sequence.
All right, let's really dig in. You can think of sequence as the golden rule of programming. It's the principle that makes sure our code is predictable. It's that straight line that the computer follows, step by step, without getting lost.
And here it is, the definition you'll want to have memorized for the exam. Sequence is the programming construct where instructions are executed one after another in the order they are written. That's it. Simple, right? Line 1 runs, then line 2 runs, then line 3. No skipping ahead, no jumping around, just top to bottom. Okay, let's look at this in action. This is some pseudocode, which is basically just a simple, human-friendly way of sketching out code. So on line 1, we create a variable x and give it the value 3. On line 2, y gets the value 2. Line 3 is where the magic happens, and then line 4 will print out the final result. So take a second. What do you think is going to be printed?
Let's trace it, just like a computer would. On line 1, it creates a little box in its memory called x and puts the number 3 inside it. Done. Next, line 2. It creates another box called y and puts a 2 in there. Okay, now for line 3. The computer looks at the right side first. It says, okay, what's in x right now? It's a 3. What's in y? A 2. It adds them together to get 5, and then it updates the x box with that new value, 5. Finally, on line 4, it just prints whatever is in the x box, and it's 5.
Now, this is a really important detail, and it's something that can trip people up in an exam. The value of x doesn't magically know it's about to become 5. As the computer gets to the start of line 3 and it's just about to do the calculation, the value of x is still 3. The change only happens after that whole line is finished. Getting that timing right is absolutely key.
Cool, so we've seen the theory with pseudocode. But what does this actually look like in a real language you'll be using, like Python? Well, let's take a look. You'll see the principle is exactly the same. We're just using Python's specific way of writing things.
And here we go. We've got variables called spam and eggs this time, but the logic is identical. Line 1, spam is set to 2. Line 2, eggs is set to 2. Line 3, spam gets updated. We take its current value, which is 2, add the value of eggs, which is also 2, and the result goes back into spam. Finally, line 4, we print out whatever spam is now. And this slide just nails that key point perfectly. Look at that. Right before the computer runs line 3, if you could pause time and look inside the spam variable, you'd see the number 2. It's only after that calculation on line 3 is totally finished that its value gets updated to 4.
So the main thing to hammer home is this. A variable holds on to its value until the line of code that changes it has been fully processed. The computer doesn't look ahead. It just works its way down, step by step by step. That predictable top-to-bottom flow, that's the heart and soul of sequence.
So you might be thinking, okay, this seems kind of obvious, right? Why are we spending so much time on it? Well, because without this simple, predictable rule, programming would be absolute chaos. Can you imagine trying to find a bug in your code if you couldn't even trust the order it was running in? Sequence is the stable backbone that makes everything else possible. If you take away just one thing today, make it this. Sequence is the default state. It's the predictable, solid ground that all programming is built on. You can always trust that your code is going to run from top to bottom in order, unless you specifically tell it to do something different.
Which, of course, raises a pretty big question, doesn't it? We've talked about the straight road of sequence, but what if you need a fork in the road? What if your program needs to make a choice, like if the score is over 100, do this? Or what if you need to do the same thing over and over again? Well, that's where those other two constructs, selection and iteration, come into play. Thanks for joining me.